we go. Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Hope everybody's doing good. How's Dan doing?
Awesome. Glad to be in Wisconsin.
Back from that pit hole state of Michigan. I'm just kidding.
Everybody in the show, but outside of those walls was something else.
Oh, man. We had a rough go at it in Michigan, in at least Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Yeah.
I'm sure every place else was nice. Up there in the middle of the woods was fine up there. Where we were at earlier or late last year.
I did escape because I didn't like people robbing gas stations in front of me and the hotel having hookers hanging out in the lobby. Yeah. So I did escape and went scouting a little bit, and I did a good video on that. I kind of wanted to experience that southern Michigan and see how hard it is.
Mm-hmm.
See if I could get onto a big buck right away. I mean, I judge it by if there's big buck sign, there's big bucks, Yeah. And I went and me, Eric, and Jacob went out and had a pretty cool scout. I'm going to put a video up that's going to also include some of our troubles at the hotel that'll have and the town that'll have people laughing a little.
Yeah. I don't know what all you included in the video, not what all you filmed, so we'll leave it at that.
I take out a lot of F-bombs and
yeah. I can imagine.
I can't show any video of me talking to the person nicely who sold my rooms on me and left us roomless in the middle of the night because there's too many F-bombs.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. That was frustrating. I knew you were going to be mad because I got there first. I got to the rooms first, and they're like, we sold them. We don't have any more. And then I was like, oh, crap.
I prepaid a month in advance.
Yeah. I know. That happened to us on our vacation we went on this summer to South Carolina. We booked them the week before going down there, and we got down to the hotel, and they're like, sorry, we sold them. I'm like, yeah, you sold them to me first.
Right.
But nonetheless, it was very frustrating. The good part is we did get a room right away, whereas we had to drive like 2 more hours to get in.
I don't know. You weren't in my room, so I don't know if it was good.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, true. It was good for me and Maddie. Yeah. It was good enough, at least. There were stains only on the floor. We'll just put that in our room.
Wait till you see the video of my room. I had to wear 3 condoms just to sleep in that bed.
I saw pictures. I haven't seen the video, but
it was bad.
I got a cool shirt. Look at this shirt. All of us bow hunter. Remember the old Duck Hunter Nintendo game? Did your kids ever play that?
I kind of remember it, yeah.
Anyways, if you were a 90s kid, you'd be real excited about this shirt, Dan. But anyway, no, it was a really good show. That was it was fun. We saw a lot of people that were like our even members were there. I know Lewis L was there. I'm gonna forget a bunch of people, but I'm not gonna start naming them. But there was a lot of people that came by and said hi, and they were familiar names, and I got to put a face to them.
When we did the show and invited Mario to join us, man, that place was packed all around us. It was a big crowd to do the show.
It was awesome.
Filled all the chairs in a standing room only in the back.
I'll say that, and there was probably more people standing than sitting. I don't know how many chairs they had, but and there was a bunch of people standing, and it was awesome. The whole freaking crowd was there. Joe Miles, that was over at ASIO, and he like said, he's like, what's like all at once at 11:30 when we started, he's like, it was just dead. Like there was nobody in the whole freaking building. And he's like, what the heck's going on here? Where'd everybody go? And then he like went around the corner and everybody was just standing around us. So it was cool.
It was nuts.
Yeah, we got into in the evening there. We got with a good group of guys and talked for a while too. Met some people that I knew but didn't know personally. So like Johnny Stewart and Garrett Prawl, and of course Lou was there, and Rendell Eric hung out one night. That was a kind of a fun night. You guys, Eric, everybody, Jacob. Oh, anyway, anything else we need to talk about before we talk about our topic? We don't want to hold our guest up very long.
No, we can get into it.
Yeah, let's do it. And we can chit chat afterwards, so we can let Chuck go. But we got a very interesting topic tonight that I think you guys are going to be really.
Our guest is a member of the Beast Forum.
Yeah,
he follows all of our stuff, and he sent me a PM on our website.
Yep. Before we get him on, let's give everybody it's essentially. It sounds like Chuck, who's our guest, he was having issues, some issues with his eyesight and some other issues, and the doctors could not figure it out. And he overheard a Meat Eater podcast, and they were talking about this disease that raw meat can give you if you eat it raw, or you somehow get it in your mouth raw. Venison, yeah, raw venison. Sorry, yeah, not just meat, venison. And on the Meat Eater podcast, I guess they mentioned that this happened to a guy and he became blind. Well, Chuck was becoming blind, and he took this to his doctor, and they found out this is what he had. But that's all we're going to tell you, because it's going to come.
Yeah, let him explain it once. I want to hear. It's very intriguing to me.
For sure, super interesting. All right, can you hear us, Chuck?
Hey guys,
how's it going?
It's going, man. Thanks for having me on. You just want me to get into it, or?
Yeah.
Before we get into it, how's your vision now? Are you doing okay?
So I'm not completely blind in my right eye. Only my central vision is gone. So I have peripheral view, but if I close my eye and I look you right in the face, half your face is gone. So I can't look in a scope. Anything I directly look at with this eye, there's just a big circle about this big of just gray nothing. That's I think that's permanent damage. I don't think it can be repaired. But I guess I can get into all that with the story. But so basically, I woke up on January 12th and I took a sip of coffee. You take a sip of coffee, my coffee mug blocked my left eye, and I realized that I couldn't see, and I was alarmed. I was like, what is going on? I've never worn glasses. I have pilot vision, 2015 vision. So I was very concerned. So I ended up going to the ophthalmologist, and he saw some some kind of inflammatory something behind my retina. So he sent me to the Eye Institute at Frederick, which is one of the top places in the country for eyes. And I was diagnosed with CNV, which is abnormal veins behind your retina that excrete blood and scar your retina. But in reality, those were parasites. They weren't. It wasn't what they thought it was. So I was getting shots in my eyes every 6 weeks of Avastin, which is like a drug they give to cancer patients in my eyeball, which is as awful as it sounds, getting shots in your eye every 6 weeks. So I was just, it's now to rewind back to deer hunting this year on November 12th, right before gun opener in Upper Michigan. I got a place in Upper Michigan, and I do a lot of hunting up there. I shot a decent 8-pointer on some public land right by my place, and did what I always do. You shoot a deer, gut it, pull out the inner tenderloins, and when we got back to camp, me and my buddy threw them in a pan with some butter and cooked them and ate them. It wasn't raw. It doesn't have to be raw. It was medium rare. and we were fine. And then about 6 days later, my buddy got really sick at camp. And he was like, man, he's like, oh, I feel awful. You know, like I got no energy, whatever. And like, I was just like, oh, okay, whatever. So then I went home, and then like a day later, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I had 104 fever for 10 days straight. I couldn't, like, I was freezing cold. The fatigue was unbelievable. I thought maybe I got, you know, that one disease that everyone's been talking about, you know, and I figured that's what it was, you know. And so I went to the ER finally, and they told me I had the flu and just sent me home. Right then and there, if they would have figured it out, I probably wouldn't have gone blind. So fast forward to January. So I was sick. I was super, super sick. I felt like I got hit by a truck for about a month. I literally, I had no energy, terrible body aches too. It was terrible body aches, super sore joints, kind of like Lyme's disease too, you know? So fast forward to January 12th. That's when I realized I couldn't see out of my shooting eye. So, okay, so then we'll pick up where I left off. I went to the ophthalmologist. He said, yeah, you've got some irritation in your molecula, which is the magic juice behind your retina that sends the imagery to your brain of what your eye sees. And basically what happened is we got toxoplasmosis, which is a parasite that lives in deer. It's most commonly associated with cats. That's why they tell pregnant women not to do the cat box when they're pregnant or whatever. So anyway, so ended up having this parasite, and what happened is they form in clusters once they infect your body. When I had that fever, it was infecting my body, and that's why I had that fever. My body was trying to fight it off, I guess. So what it does is it attaches in vascular parts of your body, and your eyeballs are super vascular, and they like that. So they'll attach these clusters in your eyeballs, in your lungs, in your heart, in your brain, maybe even. So I'm kind of all over the place with this, but I just figured this out. I was doing some Google searches trying to figure out how to transition from shooting right-handed to left-handed with the bow, because I just got my bow, a left-handed bow now, because I can't see out of my right eye. I was doing some Google searches, and I came across that Meat Eater. It wasn't a podcast; it was an actual article.
Article, yeah. Sorry.
And I don't know if you guys attached it, but I read it, and I thought, oh my gosh! I'm like, you could change this guy's name and just put my name, and this is exactly what happened to me. So I'd been going to the doctor, you know, every 6 weeks, the specialist, and you know, I was diagnosed with CNV or whatever the heck it was. And I immediately sent him the article because I had a shot the next day. So I got into his office. I said, hey, as soon as he walked in the door, I said, hey, did you get that article I sent you? And he said, yeah. He's like, I did. He's like, I got a good chuckle out of it. The guy laughed at me. He thought
oh my gosh.
He laughed at me. And then he gave me a 5-minute lecture why I didn't have toxoplasmosis, toxoplasmosis infection, because he was describing the one that was like the first one in that article, where it was like, you know, like a weird boogery thing and like a really irritated eye. Like I never had any pain. I never had any irritation like that I felt. Like I just literally woke up blind. So anyways, he gave me like a 5-minute lecture of why I didn't have it. And then after that, I told him I'm not going to get a shot today. And I want to be transferred over to the infectious disease department. And he straight up told me no, there was no basis for that. So then my wife was with me, and she's actually a nurse at said hospital. And she said, well, let's do this. Let's do a toxo blood screen, and let's do a Lyme's blood screen just to rule it out. And he unwillingly was like, all right, fine, whatever, you know. So I went and gave the blood, and that was on a Tuesday. That was not this last Tuesday, the Tuesday before. And Friday I was up at my camp up in the UP, and I got a voicemail from him, and he was like, oh, you know, I got your test results back, and shockingly, you're correct. And I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, so now I know what's wrong with me, and I know what happened. But my toxo levels were 69. And in order for you to be positive, you just have to be above 7. So that tells me I have a pretty good amount of toxo infection going on me right now, or did. You know, I don't know exactly what my status will be until I go to the infectious disease and they get into it a little more. But
so what are they doing as of now to stop this, or to
you know, they the ophthalmologist gave me a antibiotic called Bactrim. That's what I just got, like, you know, like last week finally. And he said I might have to take it for years. And I mean, I don't know if that, you know, taking antibiotics long term is, you know, it destroys a lot of good stuff in your body too. So I'm a little, I don't know. I have so many questions that are unanswered that I would like to, you know, talk to the infectious disease people to find out with. But I guess the message that I wanted to tell everybody, besides my medical stuff, that was you got to be your own advocate. Don't just take people's word for what's wrong with you. Keep digging. Yep. Because I told every person that I went to the ER. I told them I got really sick after deer camp. And they didn't put 2 and 2 together. I told this doctor, hey, I was really sick when I got home from deer hunting. It's just in one ear, out the other, because they think they know everything. And it's kind of sad. But I'm glad I know what's wrong with me now. Kind of sucks, but I think it's permanent loss. But I'm not going to let it stop me. I'm going to learn to do things left-handed, and I'll just suck for a while, I guess.
So what happened to your friend?
I was going to say that.
My friend?
Yeah.
He didn't lose his eyesight, but he got really sick. And as soon as I found that out, I told him, I said, hey, you need to go to the doctor and get a test. And he actually just got his test results back today. And he was his test results came back at 47. So it's confirmed that's what it was. And it was our exposure to that buck. So
now he's going to worry a little too, right?
I guess. So the thing about it is as crazy as this sounds, Dan, like, you might even have toxoplasmosis in you from all the exposure you've had from all the different animals. It lays dormant in you until your body is like at a weakened point. And actually what happened to me, and when I went blind, is I have a 4-year-old son, and I had a pretty rough go after getting the parasite. Like, I was super sick, felt crappy. And then my son brought home hand, foot, and mouth from daycare, and I got it, and I literally went blind the next day. So that's what happened, because like my immune system was in a compromised position at that point. So, but what I found very interesting about the article is you don't have to eat raw meat. My buddy got sick before me, and I think it's because he gutted that deer for me. He got sick 3 days before I did, and that he had first exposure to it. You know, he didn't go blind per se, but I mean, it's not to say he couldn't, because there was another gentleman in that article, the brother of the guy, the Ben Onstad or Dan Onstad or whatever his name was, that had pretty much the exact same course as I did to go in blind. It says his brother went blind 10 years later, and he never got sick, but he ate the same.
Holy cow.
So I can't believe from the stats that are in there, you know, that they checked deer, and it was anywhere from 15 to 76% of their samples tested positive for this toxoplasmosis or T. gondii. 80% of all black bears that they tested did. And there were guys in there too that they didn't even eat anything. They were just helping their buddies clean the animals, and probably just didn't wash their hands and touch their face, or however that, you know, parasites can be spread. So I think it's I mean, you never know when something like this could happen. You never think it would happen to you. But I think everyone should take a long, hard look in how they're doing things, and be careful. You know?
That's what I was going to ask you, Chuck. Like, is there anything they have told you to like do to make sure that this doesn't happen, or you don't get it transferred to you from the animal?
Most of my information is from that article. You should actually probably post it on this
it's
thing
down
so people
below.
can look at it on the meat eater thing.
Yep.
Do not eat any fresh venison off your kill. Do not eat anything fresh off it. Make sure you freeze it for at least 10 days first, because that'll kill any parasites that are in it. This is crazy because that is what I do. When I kill a deer, I take out the inner tenderloins and I eat them immediately. I've always done this. And how many other people have always done this? That's like the best bit of your deer.
Oh, yeah. How many times have you seen Steve Ranello on a episode of Meat Eater eat something like off the raw almost? Yeah.
Well, the guy in the recipe or whatever. And he Cuban actually the tenderloins with salt. I think that's what he was doing, the original guy.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. The first person in that story, that's what they did. They cubed it up, ate it raw with salt and pepper, and they've been doing it for 40 years until something happened. But
I think back when I was a kid, my dad used to always serve us raw beef with salt and pepper.
Yeah. So, as crazy as this story is, and as unlikely as it is to happen, it can happen, and it does happen.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if there's thousands of hunters out there that this has happened to, and they were just told something else made them go blind, and they had no idea.
I'm thinking about a guy right now. I know there's a real avid hunter, a professional hunter, who went blind.
Really?
Doesn't know why. Friend of mine. I'm gonna have a call with him after this.
I think you should. And honestly, I think everybody who hunts a lot and whatever, hey, next time you go to the doctor and they pull labs, tell them you want to do a toxoplasmosis blood test, so at least you know.
Is there something they can do real quick to take care of it?
It's not real quick. They have to send it out. But
all
you do is give a vial of blood, but you have to specifically ask to be tested for toxoplasmosis.
Gotcha.
So
see, I don't know if this is what my dad had. He had something that they think he got from a coyote though.
You can get it from a host of different animals. Like they said 80% of black bear specimens that they checked had toxoplasmosis in them in that article. And what's crazy is they had these stats. They were findable. Why don't they tell us these things? Why wouldn't they? Why they're like, oh yeah, hunters don't need to know this? That's
this is how it gets out. It's stuff like this. That's why it's good to do podcasts like this so that people know. Because there's a lot of people that eat very rare venison or cook it immediately.
I eat my venison probably medium rare at most cooked.
I don't eat raw venison at all. It was pan fried, medium rare, maybe.
I do actually prefer it frozen before I cook it over fresh. It just takes the gaminess out of it a little bit.
Sure.
But I do eat it fresh. Everybody does. You get one, deer camp and stuff like you did.
Yeah, deer camp.
Oh, yeah.
Grab out those inner tenderloins and let's have a treat.
Is there? I keep asking you questions that you're just figuring this all stuff out. But I wonder if there is a certain amount of time where after so many days in the freezer, the parasites.
They said 10 days.
10 days. Okay.
If something's been deep frozen for 10 days, there's it kills.
I guess that's in that article, isn't it?
I believe it. Yeah, I'm kind of regurgitating a lot.
I read it this morning.
Yeah. I was very relieved when I read it. I was kind of sad because I was like, oh crap, I have a parasite going insane in my body right now, ruining, my eyes and gosh knows what else, but at least I know what's going on now, because these things happen and blah, blah, blah. And all these answers that I was getting, they weren't sitting well with me, because I believe there's a reason for everything and you just got to figure it out, and I was convinced that me going blind had something to do with how sick I was, because I had never in my life been that sick. It was crazy, like 104.8 fever. And then I'd wake up in the morning and I'd feel okay. And then by the afternoon, I could feel it coming on me and I'd get freezing cold. And I was freezing cold, but I was sweating, and I had 104.8 fever, and my wife was like, you need to go to the ER. You're going to cook your brain. Cause I'm one of them guys. It's I don't want to go to the doctor. I don't want to go to the ER because it's just going to cost me a bunch of money and they're going to send me home. And what did it do? It cost me a bunch of money, and they just sent me home.
You weren't wrong.
No, so.
Oh, yeah, that's I'm sorry that happened to you, man. That's a very frustrating thing, and we appreciate
if it was
you,
my left eye, I wouldn't have cared so much.
Right. I said, yeah, it had to be your right eye, of course.
Yeah, it had to be my shooting eye.
It's almost like a way of the I don't know, the gods to get back at you or something for. It's like a weird thing. But
advantage deer this year, but
yeah,
no deer is safe this year because I'm gonna have to get my confidence up. If I see something in front of me,
I was gonna say
the arrow's gonna fly.
how's shooting left-handed going? Has that been a big adjustment?
I haven't even begun. I got my bow over to Steve. Thanks a lot again for connecting me. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no
problem. And he had it, and he sent me a picture of it last week, and I ain't heard from him, and I didn't want to sweat him, but I'm gonna call him. Shoot, I might even call him. I might text him after I get off of here because I'm itching to get it and see.
Yeah,
but I hope it's nothing like throwing a football left-handed because I'm going to look terrible out there for a while.
I know a lot. I think you'll be fine. I think you'll get it. A lot of guys do it when they get shoulder issues or whatever else. They teach themselves. I think it's just getting your muscles.
Otherwise, I'm going to have a crossbow, I guess, until I figure it out.
Yep.
I mean, it is what it is, I guess. It's even more ironic. I just picked that darn deer up from the taxidermist last week too. So now I'm just staring at him, going, "You."
Yeah. Did you warn the taxidermist about it? Of course, he probably had it.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't get into it with him.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know if he'd be messing with it enough to like the meat part of it. If he had meat on left over.
About it is all these people, like you guys self included, you guys might have this. I mean, it's just you have lower levels of it.
Yeah.
The reason that it hit me so hard is because right after I was infected and I was already in like a immune compromised situation, my son brought home hand, foot, and mouth, and I ended up getting it, which is a very, very infectious thing as well. And I think that, I'm just putting all this together. I haven't even talked to an infectious disease doctor yet, but I've already figured out everything else for them. So I'm just going with what makes sense now, because I literally went blind like the day after. Like, it was crazy. I found a note in my kid's backpack and it was from 2 days past. And like, I was like, your son might have been exposed to blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I didn't even know what that was. And then I woke up the next day and I was blind. And then I started feeling kind of crappy the next day. And and then
jeez, man,
that's it. So I don't know. I mean, I fantasize about my eye working right again, but I've pretty much accepted it, and I'm just going to move on and be positive and just learn to do it all over again, I guess.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming on, being brave enough to come on in front of everybody and just like give everybody a warning about what's going on with this.
Sure. I mean, like my closing things to everybody is, hey, just because you don't or you don't think anything's wrong with you, take the opportunity to get a toxo blood test. Ask for one. Tell your doctor, hey, say whatever you need to get one, because Dan, I believe you probably have some levels of it too. Raccoons are really high in it as well. It doesn't mean you're going to go blind necessarily, but you could. It's good to know.
Hey, Chuck. Jeff wanted me to. Can you read that comment down there? He says, "Tell Chuck to look for fenbendazole." I can't pronounce it.
Fenbendazole.
Yeah.
What is that?
I don't know. He said to look into it. He told me to tell you.
All right.
So
anyway. One other thing. So I guess this parasite never leaves your body. Once it's in your body, it's there forever. It just goes into a dormant state. So you're never, once you can't give blood and you can't be an organ donor.
So when you're taking the medications, it's not going to ever kill it.
No. All you want to do
now, they don't have anything that'll kill it. It's just
as far as I know, no. I mean,
doing any more damage, hopefully, kind of thing.
Yep. So I mean, your body naturally fights it off, and a lot of people, like, if they get the infection, their body will naturally fight it off, and they don't even know they had it or have it. but I was just one of the lucky people that won the blind lottery with it. The statistics are shockingly low for that to happen.
Oh,
But
dang.
it happened to me. So
you and the guy on the Meteor article.
Yeah. Well, there was like 4 guys, or there were
Sure.
quite a few guys on there actually. But
yeah.
But and you know what? The only reason that guy figured it out is because he was a microbiologist and he didn't leave it alone either. He went to 5 different ophthalmologists and not a single one of them figured it out. And then he got that certain one, and the guy said, "Oh, his ears perked up." He said, when he said, "Oh, you deer hunt?
Yeah.
Oh, you eat venison? Oh, okay. I know what's wrong with you." You know, so
yeah.
I wish I would have found that doctor.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my story.
Well, Chuck, we appreciate it. Like Dan said, sorry for Huck coming in here. He's supposed to be sleeping, but came out of bed. So
that's fine. I was hiding from my 4-year-old too.
I got you.
Myself.
Usually his mom's here, but she has volleyball tonight. So he's just roaming around the office right now, but that's all right.
Hey.
Everybody knows that I he's part of the little Hunting Beast family, so he'll be all right. Oh,
yep.
I hope everything goes well for you.
Yeah, hopefully. If you find any information out and want to share it, just let us know and we can pass it along or have you jump on and tell us about it.
Sure. I mean, honestly, the best information that I found on it is that Meat Eater article. There's links on there too that go to studies and whatever.
Yep.
Like if you get into it, and that's pretty much where I'm getting everything. Yep. And like my doctors didn't even know this.
And it's linked in the description. So
yeah. So
yeah. All right, Chuck, we'll let you go. I told you it'd be about 10 minutes, and we've had you on here for like 30.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I'm having a great time. Whoever thought to be on your favorite hunting show would be because you went blind.
Yeah, right. Not the best scenario. Shoot a big buck, and we'll have you back on next time.
Yeah, right. What the heck?
All right, Chuck.
Guys. Thanks a lot for having me, and everybody else out there. Be careful and get that test done if you can, just so you know, and you can counteract it before something like this happens.
For sure. All right, man. Thanks.
Yep. Later.
See ya.
That would be great to have a little bit of a positive side to that and have him come on.
I know.
Left-handed bow.
That'd be sweet. It'd be cool if shoots one with a left-handed bow, and guess what? My eyes are coming back, or my eyes coming back, and
he's got a pretty positive attitude. I mean,
yeah.
He was pretty upbeat.
Yep. He I'm sure he wasn't always, that has to be hard. That had to be hard.
It doesn't sound like he even has any real true answers right now. So
no, it sounds like he's the one that's done all the finding for him.
I don't think people get that really, because I know a lot of people that have, gotten all kinds of crap, over my lifetime. And a lot of them, whenever it's something a little bit, different or rare or something, doctors always struggle finding it. And I think you got to be an advocate for yourself. A doctor's got a lot of work on his plate, and he's going to go with what he believes or thinks is obvious. I mean, Carol had to go through 3 or 4 doctors. None of them would tell her she had Lyme's disease. Wouldn't want her to get tests and stuff. Said, that ain't what it is. And by the time she got tested and found out positive that she had Lyme's disease, I mean, there's a lot of damage done in that time frame when they wouldn't listen. And it was like we'd had done the research and knew she had Lyme's disease before they would even.
Well, that just seems crazy to me, because Lyme's, like, that's getting pretty, like, a lot of people get that now. Like, it's not something that.
I mean, her first doctor said Lyme's disease doesn't exist. It's not even real.
What?
There's no such thing as chronic Lyme's disease. That's in people's heads. That's what he said.
Wow. That's crazy.
Now she's going to specialists, like a place that's all set up for Lyme's disease.
Yeah. So to satisfy, can you still hear me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. I unplugged my headphones thinking I could hear you. Huck wants to say something to everybody.
What's going on, Huck?
Hey, they can hear you now. Come here. Look.
Hey.
Hey, Huck.
You gonna tell him? Hey, tell him what you've been doing. What have we been shooting and practicing?
Yeah.
With your bow?
Yes.
Shooting your deer with your bow? That's been pretty fun, hasn't it? He's getting good with his longbow, Dan.
Good. Good. The
We're gonna shoot
rabbits and
something.
squirrels in trouble yet?
Oh, we're gonna go squirrel hunting here in a couple weeks, aren't we? Yeah. All right, go play somewhere, okay? We're gonna finish our show and then I'll be in there. Okay?
Yeah.
Yep, we're gonna finish the show. All right.
Yeah, you better not be like me when I was little. After seeing what we just had on, you better
Yeah,
not
right.
use teeth and eat them raw. He's got to cook the squirrels. He's got to kill them with a bow.
Right.
No
Yeah.
chasing them down and just munching them.
It's crazy. I didn't want to ask Chuck too many questions because, you know, he probably doesn't know. You know, it's just like we don't. But you wonder how many, like, what is the actual likelihood of you transmitting it and stuff. You know, all that kind of that thing, and it affecting you in a manner that would.
Like he said, you can't give blood or anything. So I mean, you could get it from a blood transfusion.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because if you don't know you have it,
I have to think that it can't be in as many people as like he was kind of alluding to. You know, I mean, I don't know if you got that from an article or something. Because if you think about it, he said that his buddy has it too, who got sick, and you know what I mean. And then the meat eater guy's brother got sick too, or you know what I mean. So I think hopefully there's it shows itself that it's not rampant in everybody. You know.
Yeah, I mean, you think if it was, it'd be a bigger issue than it is, but it happens. Like I said, my dad had something, and his buddy got something a few years back that was about killed them. I can't remember what it was called. I'll have to ask him what it was actually called, but that name didn't sound familiar to me. So, let's do some questions, Dan, and then we'll get off here. There's a pretty good ones I've read. If you guys have any questions, before we start questions, on the last show before we went to the show, the expo, Mushroom Matt was on, and he wanted to give away one of his mushroom food plots that he sells. So I was going to announce the winner of that, and it's Jason Weagle 3624 is who won that. And I commented on Jason's comment, so you guys, if you see that, Jason, shoot me an email. You'll see the comment there. But congrats, man! Plant you a mushroom food plot. What do you think about mushroom food plots, Dan?
It's interesting. It's very interesting.
A lot of people really liked that episode. They were very interested in that. Mushrooms. Gary got some from him and planted the food plot today, I guess.
I saw he posted that. I saw online.
I don't know. I'd like to do it. I don't have the time right now for messing with it the rest of the year. You know, I got hunts coming up, and
Yeah, I just got no place to really put one.
Right. I could probably find a place to put one, but
it'd be interesting to just test it, put cameras on it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just see what happens.
I may grab it next year and mess with it. I just this year's not working. I don't have enough days in the before deer season to get done what I want to get done. So anyway, congrats, Jason. I hope you get some use out of that mushroom food plot package that Matt's gonna send you. Matt, I think, was on here tonight. So John 91083, he asked, what's your preference target for preseason practice, block or 3D? And thoughts and why?
You're more into practice than I am. I just shoot a block or something. But as a matter of fact, it's kind of an odd question because I just went to the store today and bought a 3D target in a bag. And I was going to buy a block, but they didn't have any decent ones.
Yeah.
I just want to put some targets around the yard and
start shooting a little bit at them. Start
whipping different ranges without having to targets and stuff.
I like to shoot a 3D target. I always like sight in and get everything dialed in on a dot or a block target, whatever you want to say. And then after that, I pretty well use a 3D targets, and it helps if you like use a 3D target that you don't have like a background to as well.
Mm-hmm.
If you put like bales of straw or something and right in behind the 3D target, so in case you miss, that's all fine and good, but it does help to let that deer or whatever target you're using kind of float out there like a real deer would and shoot it. So whatever you got. If you got, shoot something. I guess is the key to it. But if you got a good 3D target, I think that's the best scenario.
The best.
Yeah. Do you ever shoot up high, Dan, like out of a stand or anything? Do you practice?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I have
to.
I have a ladder stand.
Make sure you're shooting good that way. You have to throw some arrows that way.
It's definitely a different look, like up high. If you don't shoot very much up high, it's definitely different angle, different view up there. The deer looks smaller, things like that. Let's see here. Boy, a lot of people. Mike likes your shirt that says "Fully vaccinated by the blood of Jesus." I remember when you first wore that shirt. You first wore that shirt. It was like in the height of the COVID stuff. Mm-hmm. It was really funny. It was a really good shirt back then.
Yeah.
Okay. I should have let Chuck stay on because there's a few questions about his disease that me and Dan won't know anything about. Let's see here. Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you, Dan. You want to talk about your new change of plans come September 1st?
I'm going to head to Nebraska.
So
you're going to Nebraska. I'm going to go to Nebraska. We'll see where we end up.
Yep. Sounds like Eric and Rick are going to come along too.
Yeah.
So we'll have a whole clan of people there. Probably be in a little bit different areas, different public land at least to spread out a little bit. Oh, here we go. This is something Nolan asked. Would you guys consider doing an episode or two on bear tactics and scouting for bears? Yes, Dan's been bugging me about getting a guy on that is just about that subject actually. So it may be next Tuesday, maybe we'll do a show about that. That's what it's hard for me because I've never bear hunted, so I don't have a lot of I can't put much input into a show, but it'd be a Dan and the guest show, and maybe I'll just ask the dumb questions for everybody. But yeah,
I actually had a couple different people at the show over the weekend come up to me and say, "Hey, when you get more bear episodes, you bear hunting?"
Yep. Oh, we got more infectious disease questions here. Okay. Ken asked, you got a night pick of a buck 2 years in a row and you're not sure where he beds. How would you hunt him?
I would figure out where he beds or guess where he beds.
Yeah.
Look at the direction he's traveling. What time of night is he getting the pictures? There's a lot missing in that question.
Yeah.
So where's the pictures? In the middle of across fields and, middle of a farm and it's midnight. I mean, if it's close to dawn or just after dark, he ain't coming from a whole lot of distance. But if it's midnight, he could have came from 3 miles.
Yeah.
I think a guy could throw more cameras at the area in the directions he's either coming from or going to. Start to try and figure things out, or you just do a radius around there and look at bedding, because really there ain't all that much good bedding in an area, in a lot of areas. Some areas got more than others, but you can kind of start picking it apart and just moving out from the area that you saw them. Because it depends on how small the property you're on is too.
Yep. Yeah, you may not have any of those options Dan was talking about. If it's if you're surrounded by private and you just got a 20 acre or something and you get him at 2 a.m, 2 times a year,
One good piece of advice though is, if you're getting midnight pictures once or twice a year of a buck, don't chase something you can't kill.
Right. Mike asks, Josh, do you ever glass your way in when getting in tight? I use my binoculars an awful lot. I actually killed a buck It's probably in like 2017 or 16, something like that. And I glassed him in his bed and snuck up on him and killed him on a piece of public around here. But yeah, sometimes if I'm real unsure of where bedding is or something, I'll do a little glass a little bit before I go in. It's one of the benefits of always carrying some binoculars with you. Usually we have a good idea of where we think a buck's bedding at and going from there. But I have had success kind of on accident doing that though, Mike. Have you ever done anything like that, Dan? Like saw a buck at its bed before you and not spooked it, not end up spooking it, you know?
Yeah, a couple times. It's not easy.
No.
They're experts at blending in. One thing that's helped me is like if you know where the bedding is. I mean, I've got some spots in the swamp where you're walking along a ridge and it's narrow to like water and stuff, or little islands real close to the mainland.
Yeah.
And from an elevated position, you can actually see the beds if you know where they're at. And back in the day, I used to tie little ribbons over the bed, and you could see the ribbons and then look straight down from the ribbon and see the buck, and nobody really noticed those ribbons, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember checking to see if bucks were in beds, and that works many times. I don't remember ever checking and it was a giant. They always end up being little ones, but there's plenty of times when you check the bed from a distance and there's a little one in there. But even it being a little one is a huge help. If those are the beds that you're hunting, and you know where the primary beds are in the bedding area for those wins, and you check those beds and there's a little buck in there, that's a win because now you're moving on to the next spot.
Right. Let's see here. Josh, saw the interview with Johnny Stewart. Think you'll do a part 2 sometime. Yeah, we probably will have him on again sometime. That interview was kind of impromptu. He was just in the booth next to us, and it was pretty slow. So we just hopped on here and asked some questions and whatnot. So yeah, Johnny's really a wealth of knowledge. So yeah, we'd have him on here because he's a PA guy too, and a lot of people from PA. What?
Can you search my name so they know my name?
They know your name, buddy. Everybody's telling you hi in the comments. Okay. All right. Let's see here. What else? Yo, Kirk. He asked, do you guys use bug repellent while hunting? I got asked this question today in a text that someone wanted me to ask here too about how we deal with mosquitoes in early season, Dan.
Yeah, it's funny because I was just editing before we got on this.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think it's going to make it into the video, but I'm spraying myself down with bug spray. And to spray to Eric, and he sprays it in his face like this, and he goes, "This is how Dan sprays it." Beard and stuff. I go, "Why would you do that?" And the whole time we're scouting, he's like, "My lips are numb."
Yeah, dude, it'll numb your lips right up if you get in your mouth.
Like a die of cancer.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I use bug spray. I mean, I use it just about every time out. Matter of fact, using bug spray, I was sprayed down really well. And just before the show, I pulled a tick out of the back of my head.
Really?
Mm-hmm. You sweat it off a lot at this time of the year. That's the problem.
Yep. Keep reapplying. But as far as like the scent stuff, I don't worry about it. I just play the wind and spray down. It's better than swatting mosquitoes all night. And do you ever have much luck with those thermocells, Dan? Do you ever use one of those?
Yeah, I've used them and they don't work really great. I mean, if it's calm out, they work okay. But if it's thinking of breeze, you're still getting bit. Yeah.
Kind of same experience I've had with them.
And they're a pain to carry around. It's so much easier to just whip out.
Something else that can break too, and then you're like, well, crap, now what am I going to do? It runs out of the lighter stuff. And
scent control freaks freak out over the bug spray smell, but thermocells smell too, and if deer get downwind, they smell you anyway. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, I don't think bug spray scares deer. I think human scent might, but I don't think bug spray. Yeah. Maybe if they associate it with humans because they smelt it and had danger happen or something. But I mean, look at how they walk right up to vehicles parked in a field that smell like gasoline and oil and stuff. You know, like ATVs and stuff. But they won't walk up to a person. They smell the predator scent on a person.
Yeah. If it's hot enough that you have to use bug spray, your scent control probably not working anyways. You know, you're probably sweating and everything else.
Right.
Let's see here. Doug, I don't know if we mentioned it on this show or not. Any updates on Private Ryan?
Private Ryan died.
Yeah.
I don't know if we ever talked about Private Ryan, but Private Ryan was an owl in one of my very last videos in scouting that we found, a 1.5 to 2 miles back in a dense swamp. And it was the first time we were ever in there. He couldn't fly. So we made a group decision, me, Eric, and Rick, to try and save Private Ryan. That's why we named him Private Ryan. So the owl seemed real healthy, except for that he was couldn't fly.
Mm-hmm.
So he had really, really long, sharp talons, and he was snapping his beak like a bear snaps his teeth. If you haven't watched the video, you should. It's kind of cool. And except for the ending, which didn't get shown on there because we didn't know at the end of the video. But we ended up carrying him out by his wings because that's the only way he wouldn't get us with his talons. And he did almost get me once. He sliced my finger open a little bit, just kind of caught me from letting him get just a little bit too close. But we carried him all the way out, which is not an easy task, holding him away from your body, up and out. And we each took turns. And one thing that happened that was kind of interesting was my son James was along, rat slayer.
Yeah.
And when we got to the truck, we had nothing to put him in. So he was pretty concerned about that. And we had a blanket covering the back seat. And he's like, put the blanket over him. And I'm like, just put him in the back seat and I'll put the blanket over the back seat and almost to the like 6 inches from the top of the truck.
Right.
And I'm like, he'll just lay back there and go to sleep or whatever. Don't worry about him. And he's like, this is sketchy. I'm like, dude, he's just going to calm down because we're not holding him or anything. And we start driving and we don't get 100 yards and that thing's coming over the top and it's got a talon on James' head and James is freaking out and stop the truck. So we stopped the truck and had to get a blanket over the top, and then James wouldn't get back in the truck. So Eric got in the truck and held it down in the blanket. And we drove all the way to the place that saves the owls, and they know Carol real well, so they said they would give us an update, and they have other owls and stuff. So everybody was concerned. They ran in, got the owl and stuff, and we went home. And right after the video aired, we got the news that they did an X-ray and it had an infection in its wing that was very bad, and it was septic. And they felt that they could save it if they removed the wing, which actually was an option because they do have an owl there that's a permanent resident that can't fly. So they wouldn't mind just having another owl around, but federal law won't allow them to do a full amputation on an owl. There's a law against it.
Mm.
So I don't know if that's because the federal government pays the bill or...
Yeah, probably.
They actually have a law that you cannot amputate an owl's wing.
Mm.
You can amputate part of it, but not a whole thing. I don't get the feds.
Yeah,
but
it's weird.
If somebody wants to, why not? I mean, if you're going to save
Yeah.
it, they're going to kill it anyway. So the law said they had to euthanize it, so they euthanized it.
Oh, yeah, it sounds like some kind of government protocol they got to follow because they're getting funds from them. I'm sure it's what it was.
The thing is, I mean, they looked at the owl. They had vets look at it and stuff, and they said the owl had starved for a couple of days, hadn't drinking anything, and it was in very bad shape, even though it looked good.
Yeah.
They were able to give it water and some food and stuff and keep it comfortable until they killed it. Otherwise, it would have just flopped around on that island for another 6 or 8 hours before it died or something killed it, Yeah. So it was probably a better way for it to die, although it was probably pretty much in terror while we carried it out.
Right. All right. Mike asks, do you ever hunt an area because you think there's too much bedding? I can't say I've ever had. Do what?
It said, do you ever not hunt an area because there's too much bedding?
Right. Do you ever not hunt an area because there's too much bedding?
When you said it, I didn't hear the not.
Oh, sorry. I may have not said it.
May have not said not.
May not, maybe not. All right. I can't say that I've ever like not hunted a place because I thought, golly, there's freaking beds everywhere in here. Like, but I don't know. Maybe what about you up there in them swamps and marshes?
I think too much bedding really doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
There's a couple of different ways you can look at too much bedding. I think one of them is these vast swamps that have beds everywhere. You get an area with a real high deer population and a swamp, and there will be beds everywhere. And people will tell me, I don't even know where the bucks are. There's just beds everywhere, and they could be bedding anywhere. They could be bedding anywhere in one of a million beds out here.
Yeah.
But when I look at those areas, I always find that those big bucks are concentrated in the spots where they're supposed to be. The points, the fingers, the edges, the best ones, right? And they leave sign there that they're living there. And if you look at all those other beds, that's just the other deer, the small deer, the little deer, the insignificance filling the void.
Yeah.
It can be hay beds, it can be a lot of things. But those big bucks during the day will be bedded where they're supposed to if you know how to read the terrain. The other way to look at it is if the guy meant like when you're going into hunt bedding, you're just kicking deer like crazy because there's such a high population. And in that case, you can't kill the deer if you don't hunt it. So just kick the deer out of there and hunt it.
Yeah.
And you try to do it in a way that you don't spook the deer. One of the things I do is go real early in the day because deer are pretty sound asleep in the middle of the day. They're more like up laying in their beds awake, you know, in the later afternoon if you're coming out like a couple hours before you're gonna hunt.
Mm-hmm.
But you got them there like say noonish, maybe they're already, you know, they're pretty zonked out. So I don't know, there's a few different ways you can look at it, but I wouldn't say I ever didn't hunt because there's too many beds.
Right. Well, around here we just don't have the deer numbers for there to be enough beds to make
I
you
wouldn't
think
think
that.
that'd ever be a problem where you're at.
No. Nolan, he says one more. If you are in western Nebraska, would you take a nice muley if you see one? Yes, I would.
Sure.
What about you, Dan?
Yeah, I would.
I would for sure shoot a mule deer. Someone was asking about how to contact customer service at Beast Gear. They had some questions or something.
Info at huntingbeast.com. At huntingbeastgear.com. That should be right on the website. If you go on the website, there's going to be a thing you can click to email them.
Yeah.
And that goes directly to Mario.
Also, like if you were trying this weekend or something, I think Mario was probably pretty busy. He was at the show, so
yeah, he doesn't answer immediately, but he gets them and he'll answer them as he has the time. There's a lot of interactions that go through the email.
Matt, he asked, what type of preparation are you keying on now with hunting coming in 6 weeks?
6 weeks. That guy's waiting a long time to hunt.
Yeah, true. I'm really starting to glass a lot. I'm just getting eyes on deer now from afar. What about you, Dan? That's what I'll probably focus on for the most part.
I'm trying to do a little glassing. I never got my cameras out. I couldn't get most of them to work, and then I was trying to order new ones, and I just So I'm going to go back to old school. I already know the spots where they're going to be, and I have a pretty good educated guess of when they're going to be there, but I'd like to see them. So I'm going to glass a little bit, and I think it's a little too late to be starting to stick cameras in funny spots, which is okay with me. They have their benefits, but they also have their downfalls.
Yeah,
they can be an annoyance sometimes too, checking pictures and chasing ghosts. But sometimes you're better off not knowing, because then you get your timing down correctly instead of depending on a camera.
Worrying about a camera, yeah.
But I do have to really get my equipment together and get my stuff together, make sure that everything is in working order. There's no squeaks in my tree stand anywhere. Everything is waxed up. Everything's lubed, bolts are all tight. Check my bows over really well. I have to do a lot of shooting. I just started getting my bows in a routine. I need to get a lot more shooting in. Basically, equipment is going to be a biggie for me.
Yeah.
As far as scouting, I think a lot of glassing.
Yep.
And map check. We'll look over maps of Nebraska and stuff, and try to get some starting points going and go from there.
Yep. Yeah, I've been tinkering a lot with broadheads and everything else this week, trying to get all that stuff. I was thinking scouting preparation when Matt asked that question, but I'll of course be doing all that other stuff with the gear and a lot of shooting. So let's see.
Yeah, I'm gonna test out those razor broadheads that you're using. I'm gonna shoot some of the G5s again, see if I can get some of them shooting straight, and try a couple other broadheads. I got some broadheads at the show that's Havocs or whatever, but try a whole bunch of different stuff and see where that goes.
All right, a couple more questions here. Jason asks, "What optic brands do you guys like for binoculars?"
Maven.
Yeah, we've been using Maven the last couple of years. We really like those. They make pretty good stuff, and they got them in any price range you need them in, except for like $50. You can't buy a set of Mavens for $50. But
do they have them in 12 cents?
No, not quite.
You said any.
Sorry. You got to pay a little bit for them, but they got different classes, so you could look at them. You get what you pay for.
I was using a different brand that's very popular, probably even more popular than Maven in our group, and I won't name them, but I had some problems with them. I mean, I started.
Just fell apart.
I mean, 2 pairs and they busted up on me.
Yeah.
Real fast within a year. Now, granted, I'm pretty hard on stuff, but the Mavens are lasting me really well, and I'm beating the hell out of them. So
yeah, same. Pharrell, he may have the award-winning question for tonight. Will Rick have pork chop sideburns for deer season?
Oh, that would be awesome. You can't get that guy to do anything stupid or funny, though. He's always like,
"Look at this,
butt of your jokes."
Look at this right now.
Yeah,
I don't have much hair, but I have a mohawk right now.
Right.
I don't know if you guys noticed that this is as good as my mohawk gets. I don't got any hair, but
you can dare Josh into doing anything.
Oh yeah, Huck, his mom cuts her hair, and he was the other night. He was like, mom, Maddie was like, what kind of haircut you want? And he's like, I want a mohawk, and he's like, I want Dad to have one too. And then of course I was like, what the heck? All right, because he got a kick out of it. I did it, but he gets up every morning.
Like that thing purple when we go to Nebraska deer hunting and video that.
He gets up every morning and he's like, Dad, I like your mohawk. That's what he tells me, because I always wear a hat regardless, but I don't know if I could spike it, Dan. I don't have hair. I'm going bald. It actually makes me look less bald.
That's what you could do. I mean, all kinds of people get mohawks, man. You should shave a stripe.
Yeah, so then I'd really look bald. It's a reverse mohawk.
Careful, it might never grow back.
Yeah, true. That could happen. All right, Tommy asks, what do you think about neighbors riding horses through the property showing up on camera in hill country? Do you think it affects their bucks?
If they're staying on trails and stuff, I don't think it's that much of a problem.
What if they're just like
they're riding horses through bedding areas, but if they're riding them like at prime time for hunting, I don't know, it could affect it.
Yeah, that's what
I don't think they're leaving. I think they're just going to go over to a different bedding area. It's just a matter of if you have other spots on the property,
or just they may just lay back and wait till a little later to come out or something. If a horse comes through it legal light or something, there's a guy that lives down the road from a piece of private I hunt, and the farmer, he helps the farmer and stuff, and the farmer lets him ride his horses on their land, but there's no trails or anything. It's just willy-nilly riding around, and I'll get them on camera quite often, just riding around randomly. So I don't think it's ideal, but I mean, there's still deer there and bucks there, but
that is kind of weird. I've never seen people ride around randomly. They're on a trail,
They just ride in the fields. It's right on the edge of the fields and the woods and stuff. Let's see here. There's a couple more questions coming in. We've answered this a long time ago, but it's one of our most popular videos. Do you pee off your tree stand? Into the wind or downwind or the leeward side of the tree? Depends on how strong the wind.
Into the wind.
Depends how strong the wind's blowing. I just
You,
pee out
you
of my tree,
never
man.
you never pee out of your tree because that's just wasting good squirrel ammo.
Yep.
You wait for squirrels.
I just pee. I don't like sitting there uncomfortable. I don't carry a Gatorade
I've never really
bottle
even
with me.
seen it affect a deer. I've seen deer come over, lick it, smell it, walk through it. I've never seen a deer have a bad reaction to pee, which is curious to me because common sense would tell you that they can tell the difference between a meat eater urine and vegetarian urine, because I can smell the difference, between fox urine, coyote urine, and like deer urine. There's a strong, almost like a skunky odor to the meat eaters' urines and the animal food. And I think deer should be able to smell that, but they don't seem to associate that with people.
I'd say we may eat enough other bull crap that our urine doesn't smell like a meat eater anymore.
Here's the bottom line.
Smells like monsters and
right. Yeah, I know mine buzzes and fizzes, but even if you think that deer might get some sort of little smell out of there, and maybe 1 out of 100 deer spook from it, even if you think that, for how far you can pee from the tree and how you access that tree, I can guarantee you that if the deer smells the pee, he's already smelled you, already knows you're there, already smelled.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Trail. Yeah, so there is absolutely no reason not to.
Right. Yeah, Slugworth says peeing with a saddle's tough. Don't pee on your boots.
Yeah, there's a video about that.
Don't pee on. Huck thought that was pretty funny.
I think we said don't wee on your boots or something like that. Wasn't that the video?
Yeah, don't wee on your boots, Dan says. You wee on your shoes today, didn't you?
Oh, I mean,
Yep.
I can remember some show trying to sell funnels and hoses.
Oh my gosh, really?
Oh yeah, you see the weirdest crap over the years.
Nobody. We'll end on here because we're about out of questions anyway. But today, hey, just give me a second. I want to tell a story about you. Today Huck came out of the bathroom. He peed, and he goes, he had pee all over his shirt, and I'm like, oh man, and he had actually dropped his shirt, and peed on the front of it, and I'm like, oh man, buddy. He goes, yeah, I peed on my shirt. He goes, but I cleaned it up, and I walked into the bathroom, and he just laid toilet paper down on the floor all over where he'd peed, and I'm like, good job. It's something like that happens almost every day with him, just making messes and halfway cleaning them up, and then you find them later. At least he told me about it this time. Anyway, all right, Dan, we're out of the questions, and yeah, what do you want to tell them?
I want to tell some.
Say it right there in the mic.
They can't hear me.
They can hear you. Say it.
Gary, who's that again?
Gary and Dan.
Dan.
Hey, Huck. What's going on there, Huck?
All right, let's get off here, buddy. You got my thing in your arm. All right, everybody. Thanks for hopping on tonight. We'll see you later.
See ya.
Bye.